just the fact that they created another halftime show with just American performers was just, hey, we're racist over here.
You can't have one argument and then kind of retract it when it suits your narrative.
Things like, oh, he doesn't even speak English. You can't even understand what he's saying. Well, I'm sorry that you didn't pay attention in Spanish class.
I do feel like they can also be very racist.
I'm Cuban, and I will be the first one to say, yes, Cubans are extremely racist.
I think the least
racist race is the black race, honestly. I want to talk about reincarnation.
Okay. Whoa, I don't know how that went from that to
I'm telling you, I'm not ready yet, and you want to get mad at them, you're in the wrong. Because they told you what it was at the beginning, and you made the choice to basically be a masochist and go through it anyways. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Please Enlighten Me podcast. I'm your host, Ashley. I'm here with my lovely host, Tati.
Hi.
And we're back with another episode for you guys, so we're excited.
Very excited.
Okay, so we have a lot to unpack today. I want to get straight into it. We just had the Super Bowl.
We did.
You did watch the halftime show, right?
I mean, all the way through till the halftime show.
I only watched the halftime show. I didn't watch any of the game whatsoever. I just walked over to my friend's house. She was like watching it, and we saw it there. So, what did you think about it?
I personally really liked, the halftime show in general. I personally really liked it. I thought he did great. There was a meme. I think a lot of people had the same, I know the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl and it's a big deal. A lot of people watch it because football, right? That's a big...
It's the American.
Yeah, it's the American culture. But there was a meme that I saw that said, I don't know who's playing at the Bad Bunny concert.
The Bad Bunny Bowl, that's what they called it.
Yeah, and it was... I feel like for a lot of people that rang true because... a lot of people, are there to watch that halftime show in all the Super Bowl years.
Yeah.
Everybody, that's like the highlight of it, right?
Excited, yeah.
But this year, for me, I really, really enjoyed the show. I know that it was, different views for everywhere and everyone, but for me, I really liked it. I thought he portrayed the Latino culture really good. And there was a lot of little messages within his performance that, you only pick up on if you have that culture.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I feel the same way. I think he did a great job. It was more so of a message than a concert, I feel, than a show. Because from the very beginning, from when he was like in the fields, it was just that is where the message began. And I think he did an amazing job at like uniting the culture, of all Hispanics and Americans too, because you had so many people in there having a great time who didn't know the language.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I think he did a great job. I was very emotional. I love that album. I love Bad Bunny. I'm definitely a fan. But it was crazy because, there was a lot of controversy before when everyone found out he was going to be the, headliner.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of people saying, oh, he's not even, he doesn't even speak English, yada, yada, yada. So we already knew that. And then I know you didn't get the text message because we talked about it, but
no,
I got a text. Ronar, did you get the text message?
I got one.
You got the text message before? Yeah. So there was this massive text message that went out minutes before the show. And it was like, I still have it on my phone.
I feel like I got to look at my phone.
I'll show it to you after. It was, to me, it was pure racism. It was like, let's come together and everybody tune out of the Super Bowl halftime show and watch this one instead, which was that other quote unquote halftime show they did with it was like country artists and Kid Rock or whatever. To me, that was just so, just the fact that they created another halftime show with just American performers was just, hey, we're racist over here.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it was like saying. And the numbers don't lie. Obviously, many more people tuned into Bad Bunny's halftime show than this other. Some people were saying that the Bad Bunny one looked like a halftime show, and the other one looked like a funeral service.
Oh no,
You didn't even see a glimpse of it?
I didn't. I saw somebody post snips of it, I guess, on their Instagram, and I really didn't know what it was about. But I figured because this person is American, I figured it was something that they were just showing on a different channel, but I didn't know that they made it such a big deal.
They did. They sent out this mass text message to try and, rally up
Divide.
the people, right? And to not support him on purpose, to not support the Hispanics on purpose. But I feel like we did an excellent job at giving them the finger with that show.
I think that no matter where you're from, that show or that, just Latin music in general is something that kind of gets you to move. It's just like a feel good energy, a feel good music, right? So I think that
Yeah.
no matter whether you understand the language or not, I know there was people all over the country and in those stands that just your body just moves.
Yeah,
Like how do you
music,
not
it
get into
transcends,
it?
as they say. It transcends. Like, look, there's the artist, I think Thames. Sometimes I don't understand what she's saying, and she is speaking sometimes in a different language. But I love her music, and I'll
Yeah.
sit there and I'll just vibe to it because it makes you move. You know, the music moves your soul
But that's
ultimately,
the
not
whole
the
purpose
words.
of music. It
Right?
transcends barriers of culture and all of that.
Yeah. No.
You just
Absolutely. My biggest thing was this. Like, I kept hearing so many people saying things like, "Oh, he doesn't even speak English. You can't even understand what he's saying." Well, I'm sorry that you didn't pay attention in Spanish class, because the in the United States, in pretty much most states in America, Spanish is a subject that you learn from a very young age in elementary school. It's one of the subjects. Spanish,
Yeah.
not Chinese, not French, not Italian. Spanish.
yeah, because our country is made up of a lot of
Everybody wants to learn Spanish, and then everybody wants to take salsa classes for fun. It's like the Latin culture is such a diverse
Sexy
culture.
culture.
It's a culture that everybody kind of wants to dibble and dabble in, you know? The
Yeah.
food, the music, and the language.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just so ironic to me that people are that hateful, because it comes from a place of hate ultimately.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that all of that was going on behind, because I do remember that controversy of when they announced that he was going to be the one headlining the show. I know that there was a big back and forth, and I've kind of just like tuned out a lot of all of that stuff because it's just so like heavy right now in society. But I do remember that that was a big deal, and I kind of like I hated that because outside of this, I do feel like everybody really does like his music. I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't speak for everybody,
I
but
saw
I do.
this one. What do you call it? It was like a review, right, on YouTube of this. She's like a Russian girl. She barely even speaks English, let alone Spanish. So she starts her review by saying like, "Okay, so I'm about to watch the halftime show. I don't know who this guy is, but so I'm coming into it with an open mind." She starts watching the show. It's the cutest thing. She starts like moving. She's like, "Okay, all right, okay," and she's like super getting into it. And then he starts to play Debí tirar más foto, the beginning. She goes, "Oh, wait, I know this one. I know this one from TikTok." I'm like, you see? She actually knows who the artist is without actually knowing that she knows
Yeah.
who the artist is. And then there was another one that was also, the Monaco one.
Oh,
I forgot the name of the song. I think it's
Monaco.
called Monaco, yeah?
yeah.
That one searched. She goes, "Oh, this one was on TikTok too." So I'm like, you see? Like, people don't even know that they know who Bad Bunny is and that they actually like love Bad Bunny. But she had like a great review and stuff about it.
I think that outside of it just being Bad Bunny, like he's not the first Latin
No, yeah, he's
artist
not,
to play
but-
in the Super Bowl. Given his is probably one of the most watched of
Yeah.
history.
He's the biggest.
Yeah, his
He
is
is the
You
biggest.
know,
He's
he is the biggest.
Numbers don't lie. He's
No,
No,
he's the
100. I think it was like
his
130
show-
something
hit
million.
135.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had the most views of
2
any.
million over 2,000 over Kendrick.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which
you
was the
see?
one from
and
last
Kendrick
year.
was a big one too. Everybody loves him. So
Yeah, no, I mean, it just, a lot of the comments, they don't make sense, and they're just so obviously portraying that they come from a place of hate.
which sucks
Because he doesn't speak Spanish. Okay, well, everybody in America wants to learn Spanish. Everybody wants to eat the Spanish food. Everybody wants to learn salsa. And then you had what Donald Trump put. Oh, that was the worst halftime show ever. It was terrible. Okay, so when J-Lo came out busting it wide open on a stripper pole, that wasn't, because he said, "Oh, this was, families were watching this, and this was not a family event," and blah blah blah.
What do you mean?
And
Yeah.
so it was just coming from, "I hate you, and I'm just gonna find anything to say to make you look bad."
Yeah.
But I think that Bad Bunny surpassed that hatred. And I mean, he had the dang sign in the back that said, "Love, love is the only thing more powerful than hate."
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it was a beautiful performance. I got emotional. I think he did a great job. I'm very proud of him. I'm proud to be Hispanic. I know you are too.
Oh, I am. I love the way he opened it. And he said, "Qué rico ser Latino."
Yes, right?
Oh,
I
that
loved
was
it.
lovely. And he just, again, he really did good with portraying. And a lot of people won't understand it because if you're not from the culture, you won't get it. But just portraying where the Latin
Yeah.
community has come from, from, those fields. Like everything there had a significant meaning.
Yeah, and
so-
specifically to Puerto Rico too, because
Yeah.
after watching it, I'm Cuban, so watching it, yeah, I picked up on a couple things like the kids sleeping on the chairs. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I have
I
mad
remember
pictures
those
of me
days.
sleeping on chairs at like family parties. But then he went as far as to really like, like catering it to Puerto Rico specifically, because even the Don, I think her name is Doñita. So the lady that was in the little house, I don't know if you saw, she hands him a shot. So.
Yeah.
She has a real restaurant.
That is
in New
that
York.
little
Yeah?
house that she was
Oh, that's
in
so
was a
cute.
replica of her social club in New
PR.
York,
Oh, in New York.
and
okay.
it's like the last social
Oh.
club that kind of, it's catered to the Hispanic community, primarily Puerto Rico, and so many millions of like a bunch of investors, I'm sorry, have offered her millions to sell it, to redevelop and stuff, and she
doesn't
says
want to.
absolutely not. Millions
nice.
she's turning down just to keep this culture alive. So a lot of people in New York know who she is. They have a whole festival for her every year in New York.
Oh, that's cute.
It's like
I
a
didn't
big
know that.
block party, and she actually had her there, like
Yeah.
the lady in there.
Oh,
so
that's
that
cute.
alone was just like, oh my god, like
I love
the people they knew, they knew.
I love the wedding.
The wedding was real.
Yeah, I love that it
wedding
was
was
real. I
crazy.
was like so moved by that. It was, I guess, somebody who wanted him to play at their wedding, and so he just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, why don't you come on to the
I think,
Super Bowl with
yeah,
me?"
I think you're right. All I heard was that they invited him. I don't know if he actually went to the wedding.
No, that was their wedding.
I think they got married already.
No.
No.
That was
He
their
signed that
actual
paper that he
wedding.
signed was him signing their wedding certificate.
I didn't see
that
him
was-
signing a paper.
He did.
Yeah.
Signed a
He
paper?
signed.
Obviously rehearsed. Like any wedding gets rehearsals before
Yeah.
the actual.
Oh, you
So
see
that
that
was their
But
wedding.
So that's new to
that
me.
was like a rehearsed wedding. That was a real.
I
wedding.
thought that they
Yeah,
had
yeah.
invited him to their wedding, probably like to sing, and then in
No.
return, he was like, "Come have like an extended reception
Yeah.
no.
at the Super Bowl."
It
No,
was so
wow,
sweet.
that's
I
pretty
thought that
cool.
was nice. But
That
it
is
was
pretty
It was
cool.
a great show. I enjoyed it.
It
Whatever.
was there, and there's like so much more to unpack from that, but I don't, Great job, Benito.
And
We
when he
love
brought
you.
out Ricky Martin, that was great.
Yeah, Ricky Martin looks like. I mean,
I mean, he doesn't age, but
that's Botox right there all day. It's kind of weird.
Little
He's
bit.
probably taking. A lot of artists are doing it now, especially Kim Kardashian. That's where I learned about it. It's like this. I forgot what it's called. It's like this vitamin or pill. It has a name.
Adrenochrome or something. Like that.
Something.
No,
and
but
this
that's
there's
called
this,
baby's blood.
babies. Well,
Ugh. There's this crazy guy. I don't know if you've seen him. He's like really into like just researching ways to stay young and keeping your longevity. He literally looks like a plastic figure. It's
I
crazy.
think I did see.
He's like once a
something.
day.
He had like a show or a documentary on him, something like that. I don't know. I think I
don't
saw
know.
it too, but
I don't know what his name is, but a lot of famous people have been diving into that longevity and looking younger thing and taking those types of vitamins and supplements and they're expensive.
well, I'm sure.
That's probably what Ricky Martin's on, clearly.
Maybe Anne Hathaway too.
So another thing that kind of like goes into the whole racism thing, because the Bad Bunny stuff, there's a lot of racism around that. So it kind of made me think of something where, and I don't know if this is a question, it's just the thought, but like I want to share it with you and see like what if it was you, like maybe like what would you say you are? So say a person is born into an American family, like white, two white people from, I don't know, Alabama, blonde hair, blue eyes, completely American. But along comes a Dominican couple, adopts them, takes them over to New York and raises them in the Dominican culture, pure Dominican, So this person, this baby grows up into adulthood and they are white, blonde hair, blue eyes, but they talk like Dominican papi, like super, It's what would you classify them as? Would you be like, no, you're American or you're Dominican?
That's a good question because I mean, essentially by blood, this person is American, but raised into a family of this person has culture, right? Their parents, the people that raised this child are Hispanic. So I don't think that it would be wrong for this person to claim the culture of being Dominican. But I think that if that person also knows their heritage, they should kind of maybe say both. Like I'm born of an American ethnicity, but raised by a Latin household parents. I mean, if they want to dive that deep. Otherwise, if you're just answering somebody, then just say I'm Latino and that's it. Like,
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. I guess that is a tough one because it really depends who you're talking to and how deep you want to dive into your ethnicity at that point. Because we don't just go around talking about like our whole life story with everybody. And a lot of times people who are adopted don't really care to dive into that.
That's true. They don't
Other
even know.
half.
Well, I mean, eventually they know where they came from, and they're like, "Dang, I look different."
but there is a lot of like light skinned Dominicans, you know.
No, yeah, absolutely. You've got all like races and colors of different people who you can't tell by just looking at them where
never.
they're from. That's the beauty of just culture and race, period. That's why I feel like racism is so stupid sometimes to me.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense. Like, but that was just something I thought about. And then I also thought about how, you know, when you go to a doctor's office for the first time, you have to fill out all the paperwork. And then there's always the question of race and ethnicity.
Yeah.
And then race, you got the black, the white, and
Asian.
I
think
no,
there's-
it's black, white. You said it earlier today.
Is it Native American?
The Native American, right? And then ethnicity, you have Hispanic, you have African, you have Afro Latino,
Yeah.
you have Asian, you have I think Alaskan or something like that.
There's
Caucasian.
several different ones now.
Right.
But
So-
I always hate filling out those
It's
boxes.
so confusing. I know because I'm Hispanic, right? So in ethnicity, I put Hispanic, but then in race, I have to put white, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm white.
I mean, technically,
don't
by the
wanna-
tone of your skin is, I guess, what they're talking about. But I feel the same way. Like I'm like,
Well,
Tan.
in race, it's supposed to say Hispanic or Latino.
I feel like at some
It says
point
it
that
under
changed.
ethnicity. I looked.
See, that's
That's
where
where-
it mixes up. Like I'm not white. I'm Latin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like-
it's always been a confusing thing for me when I like filled these things
you know,
out.
like the Dominicans have this like issue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think us Cubans as well. We're the biggest racists. No, I promise you.
Yeah.
No, I don't doubt it.
Cubans, something with Cubans and Dominicans, they don't like the Dominicans and Cubans actually, the ones of obviously darker tone. They're racist against their own darker tone brothers.
Yeah, no,
It
it's
doesn't
ironic.
make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You come from the same area where he comes from. Like, trust me, y'all not different. But somehow, no, I'm not African American. I'm Dominican.
It's crazy.
I'm not African, or I'm not from African descent. I'm Cuban. Dude,
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
No,
dude,
it's-
it's a thing. It's a thing.
It's so
It
ignorant.
runs
It's
in
ignorance.
every
And I'm
culture.
happy you brought that up because, yeah, I'm Cuban and I will be the first one to say, yes, Cubans are extremely racist. I'm not going to sit here and say that all Latinos are racist, right? Because
No,
we
I mean,
can't
we can't
classify
generalize
everybody.
that.
But there is a big group of Cubans that are racist and Nicaraguans too. Oh my God, Nicaraguans. And they're also of color. It's just
I mean, that's just in every culture and every ethnicity. There is always going to be people who are
I think
racist
the least,
in
I think
one
the
way or
least
another.
racist race is the black race. Honestly,
Amen.
I would say that,
Yeah.
and I feel like the black race, if they're gonna hate any race, it would be the white race because of
Yeah.
what they did to them many years ago.
Of course.
But black people love Hispanics. They love Latinos, and if you're a good white person to them, they love you too.
Yeah.
To me, in my eyes, they're the least. You know. But yeah, it's such an ignorant thing when I come across a Hispanic person who's racist. I'm like, do you not understand that you as well are a minority, as they say? Like,
Yeah.
you have no right being racist. You know.
Yeah, I think it runs within all communities.
It's programming.
Yeah.
It's how we're raised.
Yeah,
And it's how they were raised while, so it's all generational.
It really is.
No,
yeah.
It really is.
of
all-
course.
Like, and it's so unfortunate because why are we getting taught this as
At such a young age,
as
right?
a young
Right.
age, exactly. And then you have to figure out that that's not how it is.
Yeah,
at
you have to
all.
figure it
No.
out. You have to like redirect yourself at some point and be like, why do I hate this race again?
And then at that point, you'll lose family.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
And,
it's
you
a
know,
big deal. I think that it's tough. Like, I don't agree. Not that I don't agree. I think that, like I said, I think it runs in every race. And you know very well, I love the black community. I love black guys and women in
She
general.
sure does, everybody. She's
But
single too.
I do feel like they can also be very racist against, and again, because you say the white community and what they did to them and all that, 100%. But like, for example,
I could agree.
but yeah, we can't say that they are the most, because no,
Right.
like, everybody generalizes and everybody has that within them where they're going to try and kind of down talk a different race. And I just think it's wrong all the way around. But like, if you could remember, this is going to probably cause some, like, back and forth with whoever's watching. But if you could remember when The Little Mermaid, the live action film, was coming out.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And the girl.
If people were upset because or bothered because, okay, you casted somebody for this role who was of color. She was an amazing actress, but she didn't fit what we grew up with, right? And they have princesses of all cultures now, especially because Princess Tiana came out. They so that one, I mean, I always feel like these live action remakes are more for like the people who watched them as kids. Of course, our kids like it, but me, girl, like, I have Ariel tattooed on my arm, and she doesn't look like the girl who was in the movie. And that caused a lot of, back and forth among the people, because they were like, oh, why is she not white? Why doesn't she look like what she looked like in the film, of the classic film? And then you had the black community saying, okay, but mermaids can be black too. And then, oh, but she's from Denmark. Oh, but there's people from Denmark who are black. Yeah, you're right. But she doesn't fit the mold of what the character was when we were growing up. And before people rip my head off, if Princess Tiana was to be casted as a white girl,
Oh boy.
okay, tell me that wouldn't be a huge deal. And then it would be the same argument. Why are they taking our princess? Why then? But so
Very
that's
good
where
point,
it's like,
Becky.
you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
You got to give it in both, because that would have been a huge argument. And I saw it, because I saw that same comment be put out there of, okay, but if Princess Tiana was casted, oh, but no, because Princess Tiana was from Louisiana and she, from the bayou or wherever she was from. Okay, but there's white people in Louisiana too. Trust me. I mean, I lived there. There is white people in Louisiana. So you can't have one argument and then kind of retract it when it suits your narrative. So I think it's really tough to say that any culture is the least racist. I think it just runs through, because through time, there has been slavery, racism. Like, that's just something that, for whatever reason, I don't understand it. It's like instilled, like, we have to be better than the other people. And it doesn't make sense to me, but
Yeah.
that's what's taught for some reason. I mean, some a little more extreme than others, to where they do a whole movement of like the Holocaust, the slavery here. But it's just
no. That's
something
a really good
that has to
point.
change. It has to
That's a
shift
really, really
within
good
us
point.
as humans. And unfortunately, over time, we just kind of like, we go forward and then we take steps back, and we go forward and we take steps back. And
Yeah, I'll be the first to say that Little Mermaid was also my favorite Disney movie. Like,
Yeah.
my favorite. Like, it's a dream that I could be a mermaid one day.
and the girl
That was
played it
never gonna
well.
happen,
She did
but
good.
I gotta say, when I heard that they were gonna make a Little Mermaid movie, I was looking forward to the red hair.
Me
The
too.
red flowy hair. Where was the red hair?
Yeah.
Even if she would have been black, at least the red hair.
No, yeah. So, that one took a lot of people for like,
No, yeah. I mean, and it's something that I've taught my kids since we were little. There are good and bad people in every race and every culture.
yeah.
So in every race and every culture, you also have racism, but you also have good people who just believe in unity within all of us.
Yeah.
We're all different, but we're all created equally
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So two things can be right there. And that actually leads me to my next topic so perfectly,
Okay.
which is like a whole like different topic. But we hear that a lot. We hear we hear both things. We're all created equally. We have 2 legs, 2 arms. We all bleed red, right? So we are created equally in that sense. But we are also all different. There is nobody, not even twins. I have twins and I see how different they are. There's no one like you. There's no one like me. There's no one like Ronar. We're all different
Isn't
and
that
unique.
such a beautiful thing?
And it's
though?
a beautiful thing. I love it. So, I want to talk about reincarnation.
Okay. Well, I don't know how that went from that to
Yes. So, I guess I'll start by first asking you, what are your thoughts on reincarnation? Do you believe in it? Do you not believe in it?
I do. Of course. I mean, I believe in past lives. I believe in bringing things over from. I believe that we know people from our past lives that we carry over into this life. I don't know that we're reincarnated into a cat or like I can't say what we come back as, but I do believe that we live multiple lives and a little bit of what we were in our past life kind of trickles into our next life. I personally think so.
Yeah, no, I'm 1,000% on board with you. I have ever since like the whole spiritual awakening that I had, which I talk about in our very first episode,
Yeah.
episode 1, guys, go watch it. But I started to kind of, before I used to never believe in reincarnation because I was raised with the idea you're born, you live a life, you die, you go to
Yeah.
heaven or you go to hell. Pretty much,
Yeah.
that's it, right? So reincarnation was like, no, like that's not real. But then I had that enlightenment and I started just to like be more curious, right? About
Yeah.
just different things in the world. Reincarnation was one of them. So I started to kind of read about it a little bit and I didn't almost fully understand how reincarnation could exist. But because here's my thing, like, like when you die, when we have like loved ones that die, a lot of us have spiritual connections with them. And even mediums can kind of connect with people from the dead
Yeah.
to the people and pass over messages to people that are still living. So it makes you think like, okay, we do go somewhere when we die.
Yeah.
So how do we go somewhere, but then we come back to this life, but we're still communicating with people from the other side,
Yeah.
right? That's the part right there that I could never
You
really
can't
make that
connect.
puzzle fit
Yeah.
until I read the book Many Lives, Many Masters. I want you to read that book.
Yeah, I
I'm not a
haven't heard of
reader.
it.
It's the first
Me
book I
either.
ever read in my entire life. Okay. One day I was just like, I don't know. I think I was overstimulated. It was like a weekend and I wanted to just relax in my room. But
You
I
read a
didn't wanna
whole
watch
book in a
TV.
weekend?
Yeah, like in 2
Wow,
I
that's
haven't
awesome.
finished it yet. I haven't
Oh,
finished it.
okay.
I have like maybe, I don't know, maybe like 3 chapters left of it.
Okay.
So I haven't finished. I need to finish it. But within 2 days, I read the majority of it. So basically, long story short, it's about this UN professor. He was a therapist, right? And one of the things that he used in therapy was hypnotizing people. It was hypnotherapy, right? So what he would do to kind of help people with their traumas, he would hypnotize them and kind of take them back to their childhood once they're in that trance.
Okay.
And start you at the beginning of your life. So you start seeing the sequences of your life. And somewhere along those lines, you'll bump into an event that happened that caused this trauma. And it triggered the anxiety and whatever. And that's how he would kind of cure his patients. One time, he had this patient, this woman who she suffered from anxiety and I don't know what other things. But he began to hypnotize her, same way he's always done. But he started to realize that this woman was going
Way back.
not only to her childhood, but way further back than her childhood. Every session, she was visiting another life she had. In some lives, she was a slave. In some lives, she was a man. Sometimes she was a little boy. Sometimes she was always something different, right? And in each of these lives, people in her, in her current life would appear as different, like, relations, right? Like, her boyfriend now could have been her father in another life, or, her
Yeah.
father now was actually someone she was dating, and so on and so forth. So, and that was something I had learned with reincarnation. I'm like, I know that I went to a medium one, and she told me this. She said that in this, like, a lot of times she'll be like, oh, so-and-so, he used to be your so-and-so in another life. Or she would say, like, your mom and your dad, they were actually like brother and sister in another life, or, things like that.
Yeah.
So I always kind of like had that. And then reading this book kind of validated that for me. But what would happen between these sessions was she would go into this trance and she would travel through, and she would, obviously she's hypnotized. She doesn't remember any of it. And she never wanted it to be recorded because she said that it would freak her out. So she would go through her life. She would tell him, oh, I'm a boy. I'm standing in a field. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. There's a fire. There's a house burning down, right? And then at the end of like the story, all of a sudden there would be a silence, and it's like her voice would kind of change. It was like a different, right? It sounds
Different
crazy, but it would change to a point where he knew that this was no longer her. It was another spirit coming in with a message. You never read Many Lives, Many Masters? It's a really good book. You should read it. It's a true story about a professor, therapist. So this voice would come in, but with a message, and they would somehow they disclosed who they were. They were the transcendent masters. I think that's how it's said. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, but basically people like Jesus Christ, Buddha. I forgot who else is categorized as that, but it was these masters. He didn't know who that it was at that time, And like I said, I haven't finished the book, but I just know who these masters are from studying other things. So that's why I'm just throwing it out there. But they would represent themselves as masters, and they would always come with a message, bearing some type of message. And one of the times or two of the times, he would say, one of the masters, he would always wait for that part, right? He was always excited for that part because he knew that they were going to come. Yeah, because he couldn't believe that this was happening. And so one of the masters one time told him, this is not only for her to cure her from her anxiety. This is for you. Because his problem was he was very against like some type of practice. I forgot that he was kind of like very against, like, no, that's not real. That can't work.
Like
that's
skeptical
not.
of
And
it.
these masters were kind of sending him these messages saying to
Like,
open up
your
his
eyes.
horizon. Yes. And he started to get enlightened. Please enlighten me. He was definitely enlightened by these sessions that he was having with this woman, but receiving messages for himself too. One of the messages was, they would always come and say that you have lessons to learn in this life. So basically, when we die with the lessons that we've learned. We don't take our money, we don't take our cars, we don't take our clothes, we don't take our houses, we don't take our fame, we don't take any of that other than our spirit, our soul, and the lessons that we learned here on earth. Mm-hmm. How did we grow, right? Did we learn how to control our temper? Did we learn how to control this? Did we learn empathy? Did we learn compassion? Did we still have jealousy in our hearts? All these things are lessons that we have to learn in life, right? So that's what these masters were kind of letting him know, that there's lessons to be learned. And that's why we keep coming back to this earth after each life to continue learning the lessons we didn't learn in the previous life.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's almost kind of like a school. When you pass, they were basically like painting it as like, okay, you go through this process where they show you what you didn't learn. It's almost like, dang, that's what I couldn't
gotta go do it
figure
again.
out. That's why I was broke all those years. All I had to do was, but at that moment, while you're there on the other side, you learn this information. Obviously, when you come back, you no longer have that. It's like you start from scratch almost, but you start with the lessons you had learned. And now you're on a journey to learn the ones you didn't in your past life. And he said this. One of the messages was, we are not all equal, but eventually we will be. So that was him basically saying, once you've learned all the lessons there are to learn and you finally have reached that level of like consciousness and basically holiness, you can now cross over to heaven. You don't have to come back to this life. Because a lot of people say this is hell on earth, that hell doesn't exist, that hell is actually earth.
Here.
I just said that in my head.
Did you? It's true.
It's hell.
Yeah, it is. Here's where we suffer. You don't suffer once you reach the gates of God.
Yeah.
But we don't reach them as soon as we die. That's the thing. That's the reincarnation, theory and stuff.
Yeah.
None of us really know what happens
No, we
when
don't.
we die.
And that's
we
where
really
that-
don't.
That's where the whole theory of like
Is
soulmates.
making a lot of sense. So logically,
Yeah. So apparently that phase where we're learning what we didn't learn and what we need to learn, it's a pretty long phase. And then the masters also mentioned that you get to come back if you want to come back. Like or the time that you get to come back. So apparently you're there for a while, right? Some come back quicker, some don't. And even the people that have like near life experience, almost death. What do you call it?
Near death experience.
Near death experiences, where they see the light, they die, but then they come back.
Yeah.
So in those moments, it's almost like they ask you, do you want to come back right now? Or do you want to go? Some people would choose to go. Some people choose to come right back. Obviously, that doesn't happen all the time because some people just die. and you have to then go through the process of like learning the lessons and coming back. So that's the part that kind of made me think like, okay, so maybe that's how we're still able to connect with our loved ones after so long, right? Because I don't really up and the other side, I feel like time doesn't maybe exist.
There is, yeah.
But anyways, back to the when we all will be equal one day. And that once we have learned all our lessons, we cross over, and that's when we're in heaven forever. And you feel euphoric. You no longer feel suffering. You no longer feel pain. And this was another thing. Like, you know how people say nobody's perfect, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody is perfect. The only person that's perfect is God, which is true. God is the only perfect soul and entity. But the goal is to be as holy as possible. The goal is to love the way that God loves, to forgive the way that God forgives, right? To get to that level. It's really hard because sometimes people do us wrong and we don't want to forgive them. But to be able to obtain the ability to forgive the way God does, that's the goal. The goal is for us to be like God. Yeah. And we will reach a point where we are at God's level. And that's when we get to go to the other side. That's when we get to go to heaven. And we stay there and we know. So we will reach that, but it takes a long time for something. This woman in the book, she goes all the way back to like the Egyptian times. She had lives as she was like in the pyramids and stuff.
I would love to know like past lives.
The real lesson there is she never learned her lesson.
Yeah, that's what I got all from all of that. She's still ain't learning
the lessons, right?
I don't know, but I mean, it makes sense because the theory of like soulmates, and not everybody that's your soulmate is like the person that you're with romantically. We have many soulmates, and we have soul contracts that we sign before we even come into this life, which is kind of like what you're talking about with the lessons. Like people who follow us through each lifetime, it's because you have a contract to fulfill with this person. And if you don't fulfill it with this person in the right way, then they're going to come back, and it's going to keep coming back every lifetime until you guys fulfill that contract. And in some lives, it could be I did you wrong. In another life, it could be you're doing me wrong, and we all have to find what it is we're supposed to figure out from that to be able to move forward. But that's why a lot of these things like karmic justice and all of that comes into play, because you have a contract that you signed that you have to fulfill in order to move on to the next level of enlightenment and understanding of life.
Yeah, and even I feel like maybe like once you fulfilled almost like those contracts, maybe you move to. I mean, the book talks about stuff like that too, because like I said, these same people keep appearing in her life just in different ways.
Yes.
So that 100% makes sense, but.
Everybody has a purpose in your life. No matter how long they're in your life for, everybody comes into your life for a reason. Yeah. I believe.
No, yeah. That book, after I read that book, I just felt so much clearer, so much clarity. Like, because I had like I said, I believe in reincarnation, but then there was like missing pieces. But that book helped me see why it is with certain relatives we are able to connect with. It's because maybe they've reached the other side. But in a nutshell, basically, all this racism, all this, all that, it's like all the money that we're like trying to get.
None of it matters.
None of it matters, dude. The only thing that we take is our spirit and the lessons that we've learned. Yeah. So I used to always say the only thing you take is your spirit, right? How good were you to people? How loving, how much love did you have? But now I'm seeing like, no, the lessons is the real wealth. The more you level up and you learn gratitude, how to truly be grateful, how to truly be compassionate, how to truly be empathetic. The last podcast that I was on, shout out to I say this to say this podcast.
I say that to say this.
Did I say it wrong? I say that to say this. All right, I'm gonna clip that out. Shout out to I say that to say this podcast. We spoke about it a little bit, and the guest had mentioned this agave love. So agave love, have you heard of that?
Agape.
Is it agape?
Agave is like a syrup.
Is right? Okay, yeah. Go ahead. It's okay. Bash me. Tell me. I'm sounding like
you so much.
So agape love. Right. Sorry. I mean, I know what it is. I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry. So agape love is like basically loving at the capacity that God loves.
Love,
the ultimate form. Right.
No.
Right. I love you enough to let you go type of thing.
Oh, that was deep.
It hurts me, but I don't want to put you through this, and I love you that much to, think about others before you think, about yourself. So it's like reaching that love. That's like a holy way of loving.
Yeah.
And the goal is to just, get there. We can get there. We can actually get to be as perfect, as they say, as God is. That is the goal. That is the actual
pretty big
plan.
goal. Is
And
that
some people will
what
fight
the
me
question?
now. Nobody will ever be. How could you
Is that the answer to the famous question? What's the purpose of life?
Yeah.
It could be.
To me, I think I've become very clear on that. The purpose of life is to learn as many lessons as possible, obviously, but to work for God. And by working for God, it's almost like you learn those lessons, because working for God means you're helping others in any way, shape, or form, whether it be through making them laugh, whether it be through giving advice, or just being compassionate and loving and empathetic, helping in any way that you can, having the desire to help somebody out,
be of service in that way.
Be of service, right? And you're
And
doing
not
God's
expect
work.
anything back
Exactly.
from it, which
And
is a
that's-
big thing, because a lot of times people do things with the expectation of receiving something back, and that's not. It's hard not to do that, especially if these people that you're giving to, like, turn around and like stab you in the back, as they say. It's hard not to be upset or bitter or be like, oh, but I did this, like I was so good to this person. But being able to go through that and still be whatever that happened, let that go, whether you guys stay in contact or not, but moving forward and not bringing that bitterness to the next person that you're giving to, or you're friends with, or you're helping, like being able to just take that and not let it make you cold.
Yeah.
Like not let it darken your heart.
Yeah,
Is a
you
big
don't
big
let it
part.
change your character.
Yeah.
You continue to be who you are, empathetic, loving, and caring.
No matter what you
no
get in
matter
return.
what.
Because
it's-
that person, whoever that
alone
was,
is a lesson. That
yeah.
alone is a lesson that we have to learn, because so many people will disagree with that. No, if you do me wrong, I don't care. You're not in my circle. I cut people off, which is fine. You can cut people off in a healthy way.
Yeah.
But they get tainted almost, and
Yeah.
that's you coming back to this life, girl. Till
And
you
a
figure
lot
it
of
out,
times-
because you
That's
got
when the ego comes back.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what you don't what people don't realize in the moment of like, okay, I was good to this person, or like sometimes it's so easy for people to like discard or do people wrong who were good to them. Well, a lot of times that comes full circle, and like when I've forgiven or when I've moved past it, this person, it's like people remember how you treated them, So this person who may have brushed you off in that moment, like it's not that big a deal, will remember when they're down who made them feel good, who was really there for them, who was really a friend. And then that's when people start to be like, damn, like I kind of fucked up on that one. And then those people kind of start having their own awakenings. And a lot of times you get people who come back, friends. It doesn't have to be, like I say, romantic, friends, anything from your past. That's when people start coming back, or like how therapists are like, oh, go back to the people who like you did wrong, and like kind of just, apologize. Because a lot of times people start carrying that, like, damn, I've been really messed up to a lot of good people in my life. And in order to release that, you kind of have to go back and like drop that ego and apologize, if you get to that point.
that's
of life.
growth right there.
Yeah.
And that is a lesson being learned right there. When you're able to level up and do that,
yeah.
that's another lesson you put in your pocket.
Yeah.
So those are such valuable things. Losing, and then I heard in like our last podcast, somebody like had mentioned something about the ego, and you mentioned it too. It's like an ego that's meant to protect you.
Yeah. But a lot of times it hurts us in the process.
It can damage us. And so I feel like learning to get to a place where you lose the ego completely, and you're still protected, because you don't have to, I don't know, it's a holy way of thinking about it, and it's a godly way of thinking about it. Instead of having the ego where you're kind of guarded and you're standoffish, or you're like,
it's knowing how to
mean
listen to your
in a
intuition
nutshell,
rather than
you
your ego.
love the person that does you wrong. You still love them, and they could do you wrong in the worst way possible, and you still look at them as a human being who has a mother that loves them, who has, like, you just still see them as one of God's children, one of your brothers and sisters. And so I can't, hang out with you or whatnot, but I love and I really, really will pray.
I wish you well.
That you, yeah. But like, one thing is to be like, I wish you well. Good
Yeah,
luck.
yeah.
And one thing is
No.
to truly, genuinely feel like,
Yeah, like
yo,
I wish you
hope-
well. Take care.
I hope that person finds the light because they got a lot of good qualities.
Yeah.
That,
And-
you know, the world can benefit from.
Yeah.
You know?
That
But,
might be like this might be where our story ends, but I don't have any ill will towards you.
yeah.
Just
Leveling up the love level. Let's just
Yeah.
turn up the love level. That was a
That's
great
it.
conversation. I like that. That was a good. How much time do we have, Ronar?
10 minutes?
Oh, okay. Is there anything that you have? Because I got notes for days. I got topics forever. Unless there's something you want to touch on.
I'm trying to think because I feel like I had something that I wanted to touch on earlier, but I think that it might be something that's like a little bit of a longer conversation. So I don't know that
Okay.
we could dive into that. It has a lot to do with healing, which I know is what we talk about often, but more so like when healing hurts us, if that makes any sense. Like I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of now is that's that trending topic of like I'm healing, but I feel like people are kind of twisting it into I've been hurt, so I'm healing, and I'm using that healing term to keep you at a distance. Right? Like I am not ready to open myself up to anybody because I'm healing, and I'm going to keep you at a distance. But until when can you use that? When do you heal? Because healing is a lifelong thing. So if you want to find, like we are humans and we want connection. And a lot of today's society is like, I'm not ready to be with somebody, but I crave to be with somebody. So I'm going to use this. I want you in my life. I like this person, whatever. I want this person in my life, but I'm also going to tell them that I'm not ready.
But I think that's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing, but up until when, right?
Up until you feel ready. And if you
this
never,
is why I'm saying it's a longer conversation than what, because
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into it. I respect healing, of course. I think that's like we all have.
let's
that
write it
journey.
down. We're gonna talk about it next one.
We all
because,
have
yeah,
that journey that
one's
we have to
gonna go.
get
Let's
to,
go
but I
healing.
think that it can be detrimental when you allow that hurt to stop you from even thinking like you're just going to continue telling yourself I'm healing. And at some point we are never going to be fully healed because there's always things that we have to work on.
Yeah, that's
But-
The question is...
true. It might just be an excuse to
Yeah.
have his cake and eat it too. You
the-
never know.
The question
her.
is, when are you ready?
Yeah.
Are
You're never
we
really
ever
ready.
That's
Exactly.
the
There's a
question.
song
And
that
that's where I
starts off
say
right
like it's tough because it really depends where you're at with your healing. If you really want to invest in somebody, or if you find somebody that you think is worth investing in, but you don't feel like you're like we can heal in love too. Like we can. It's not
sometimes-
that you.
But they're scared.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That hurt, that fear is what's stopping them. So then it's like I want to keep using this cocoon of healing to keep you at a distance, but I also like want to bring you close. It's just like a very
You know what
confusing
also?
push and pull.
I feel like sometimes some people may confuse the term healing because there's two things that happen, I feel like, in a relationship. So one is I'm healing because the last person hurt me and I'm scared, like you said, to be hurt again. Some use the word healing, I feel like, because in their last relationship, they realized the things that they need to work on.
And that's a great
They need to
thing.
grow and fix a couple things that are damaging, and they're not ready to get into it
That's
with you because they're
respectable,
not the
yes.
best version of themselves yet to give you the best version. So they know they got a lot of growing to do. So instead of maybe using the word, I got a lot of growing to do, they say I'm healing. But so that's why I think people might
And I respect that. I
interchangeably
think
use
that's
word.
great, especially being that transparent. But I think that where it gets confusing is like, okay, so where do we go then? Like, do we continue seeing each other, or do you want to continue getting yourself better and then maybe see where I'm at? Like, it's tough. But that's where I find it like I
think you
really
need to
hard.
know yourself in order to make that decision.
Yeah.
If somebody's bringing that to your table, if somebody's telling you, listen, I want to keep hanging out because I like you, there's an attraction there, but I'm not ready right now. I'm still healing.
Slippery
Then
slope.
you can't put it on them.
No,
They told you,
okay.
but now you need to be like me. Okay, me, Tati. I know how I am.
Say
Or
it's me.
how
It's
I
a
wanna-
lot of people.
I'm giving you an example. A lot
Oh,
of people. Yeah,
gosh.
a lot of people need to look at themselves and be like, okay, thank you for your honesty.
Can I
now,
handle
can
this?
I handle that?
Yeah.
And if you choose to, and later down the line, you're getting attached, you're catching feelings, but this person's still telling you, I'm not ready yet, and you want to get mad at them, you're in the wrong. Because they
Yeah.
told you what it was at the beginning, and you made the choice to basically be a masochist and go through it anyways. Okay? You
Yeah.
should have walked away.
I
You
get
should have
that
swiped
part.
left.
That's just, it's hard on both ends, right? Like, especially
yeah,
when
because
you meet a person
on
that you
other end,
like.
it's like, oh, but I like him already. Whatever, he'll get better. He'll get over it. He'll get over it.
Yeah.
And we do that as women. I feel like
Yeah.
women have a
No,
harder
yeah.
time walking away when they find something they really like. They are masochists. We are masochists.
Yeah,
we'll
it is tough.
go through it,
is
and
tough
then
once you've already like opened your heart to the person.
and
I
then
guess-
what happens a lot of times is like we'll be like, okay, we'll take it slow, and you start dating, and then eventually the woman's anxiety is like, okay, what, is this guy done
How
healing
slow
yet?
is
Like,
slow?
how many band-aids does he need? You got need some Neosporin? Let's go, come on.
I got
and then
some
you put
antibiotics
pressure
for
on
you.
him. You're like, well, until how long? Because I'm not gonna be. And then what does that do? That makes
Yeah.
him
That
shrivel
starts-
up and be like,
That's where
No.
everything goes to shit.
red flag,
basically,
red flag.
right? That's
know?
why it takes a very tough person to be able to be like, okay, I can handle this, and then
Yeah, and then what happens also sometimes too, if the guy really does like you and he's giving you that information, and you decide to be like, okay, well, thank you for that,
and walk away.
and walk away, and then you start dating other people,
Like you
and then he
probably
finds
should
out, then
do.
he's gonna be like, starts texting you and starts coming knocking on your door and making it hard for you to walk away.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you genuinely to walk away.
Yeah.
They see you as a good fit for the future, but it's like you can't have your
But,
cake
like,
and eat it
right
too.
now-
Like, let
exactly.
me
You're-
go. Love me enough to let me go.
There you go.
And
That
move on.
That's the whole
Yeah.
thing there. I think again, that's why I say like I guess it really depends on the person. Are you willing to move forward with this person and heal in love, because we can help each other on our separate journeys, and it's not to put pressure on somebody, but we can heal in
But it's not beautiful though. It sounds so pretty when you say it like that. We
It
can heal
is.
together. But let me tell you, that it's a hard road.
It is.
It's gonna be a lot of pain. Yeah, it's really hard.
And then is
you gotta
is
be
a
ready.
relationship truly built on a solid ground there, It's the question.
And it can
So
damage.
do you believe, I guess that's the next question that we'll bring on, do you believe in right person, wrong time?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely do.
Yeah.
I feel like that definitely can happen.
But there is something, I'm going to have to bring this up on the next one because I know we're running out of time. But there is something that I did hear with that whole theory, right person, wrong time, that it kind of like combats that. But I'll leave that one for the next
Okay,
one.
wait, what's it called? Right person, wrong time, right?
Yeah.
Are you good for the people in the comments? Have them.
Ah, okay.
Ooh,
You
yeah.
guys comment.
Right.
Let me know your thoughts on right person, wrong time, and the healing journey, and then we'll bring it back on the next episode with what you guys commented.
Yeah. And the last thing I'm going to say about that topic is a lot of times when you do choose to move forward and heal together, even though one person's not ready, sometimes that's worse than just walking away and coming back when the time is right, because
Yeah.
that can cause a lot of damage to the relationship.
It can.
That will probably mess up something that could have been really good.
And that's where these soul contracts come in, because that person probably came
Oh yeah,
in
you're gonna come
for-
around next live and next until we get it together.
Yeah.
We're gonna be meeting each other
Yeah.
here. So on that note, we're gonna wrap it up. That was a great conversation. I had such a good time.
Me too.
And I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe,
Share.
Go ahead and comment. Don't say anything mean because we're gonna block you. So yeah,
Yeah.
we love you guys. Peace and love to everybody. Thank you.
Bye.